Uploading content on online platforms like YouTube can be very hard on what you depict on the platform and what content you are choosing on there. But there are times like this where content can be really excessive to the point where sometimes it will break the guidelines that will impact a user's experience. About over 2 years ago, GilvaSunner, who was known for uploading a lot of videos specifically related to Nintendo music or anything like that, he posted a tweet saying game over, which showed all of a bunch of copyright claims that were marked by YouTube, specifically by the Nintendo of America, which I thought to specifically be that his channel was going to really get deleted because of all these copyright claims. But it turns out then he followed up tweets about over a year ago on December 8th saying basically that other tracks in his other ones like Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and Mario Kart Wii been blocked by the Japanese of Nintendo specifically. Now, I don't know really much about the copyright laws and specifically to Japan though, so I'm not really going to get to a whole lot of that. If anyone knows, just please let me know in the comments down below or so. Copyright laws are a bit different in comparison to the United States laws. Now, if you don't know about the definition term of fair use in YouTube, is basically that unfair use is how they do it specifically, is that the creators should only upload videos that have made or authorized to use in their videos. So specifically though, is that they cannot make any content that is not their content without asking for the owner's permission. It's the same kind of almost like the same thing when you do play with music on YouTube, because unfortunately it's not your music specifically what you're playing on. Sometimes a lot of music and ways have always tried finding ways of making sure. I have always my fair share when it comes to fair use like this on YouTube whenever I play music. I ended up getting a copyright strike for one of the musics I played back in about over I want to say like 2 years ago. I ended up getting copyright strike for this entire thing. So I did kind of learn my lesson not to use this, and I decided that after every single instance, I'm going to make sure I credit every single possible as way as I can. I'm not sure if my past videos have covered all of it. The fair use is also by the US law that protects any copyright material without the reduction about the redistribution of the use of the copyright protected material under certain circumstances without getting permission from the copyright owner. And sometimes though it is dependable depending on which country you're living in specifically. Also their differences are like in Japan as down below though. GilvaSunner also claims that he does not actually do these videos for money, and specifically he does not actually profit off the videos as shown in his replies down below. It gets pretty hard to ask permission, especially with corporations, and big massive corporations like Nintendo specifically are very in levels to impossible, because you can't just be doing is uploading the content specifically, because it's all in all you're uploading content that is not yours specifically. You're just doing that for the video. I know it's like people do want to watch the videos for their own type of thing, but they now have to do is watch the gaming channels and specifically the music to do so, which is getting much and more harder and harder to watch over specifically. And then about a few days ago specifically, GilvaSunner also updated this on January 29th of this tweet, saying that now over 1,300 of copyright blocks on that happened on his YouTube channel specifically, especially to mainly Nintendo games like Legend of Zelda, Super Smash Bros, and all that sort. So now after 3 days when he made that tweet though, February 1st is now, he also claims that now he has received another 2,200 blocks today, which is many more likely to follow specifically. And of course, this is where things end for GilvaSunner, as he is announcing he's going to be actually deleting his YouTube channel because of all of these copyright blocks that happened. An unfortunate sight to see that one of the most casual YouTubers ever just getting blasted, which is probably one of the most I think I've ever seen off of a YouTube channel specifically like this. Now this isn't really as the whole like bad situation thing, where basically Totally Not Mark got into almost a similar situation where 150 of his videos got blocked by Toei Animations that were part of a corporation in Japan though. But it turns out later, after they all found it out specifically, that Toei Animations ended up abusing the copyright system claim as what YouTube really claim to be said now. Now, I don't really watch Totally Not Mark's channel because his content really relies on reviewing like anime shows specifically, but he doesn't, I don't think in his videos he doesn't ever do is to show like the entire content on there. He just basically like shows portions or clips of the anime show, which really does show fair use, because you're using parts of anime clip and then you're making your own voice lines and doing so, and your own review. It does really fall under the term of fair use specifically. I think some people really get confused with the old deception about fair use specifically. Now, during the also past few other weeks, though, Twitch streamers specifically have also gotten in trouble for actually getting their live streams taken down by the Twitch staff department, saying, of course, that they're actually streaming of full TV shows like MasterChef, as you've seen down below, which really kind of created a spark over on the Twitch community side and Twitter specifically, because we all know how real streamers do the craziest amount of stuff where they just complain about the littlest things as possible and say, oh yeah, it's not deniable though, which could just lead up to possibly another corporation, which is also what happened with the Viacom situation that happened in YouTube specifically, which some people really think this is also going to be ending up in almost situation like the Viacom situation. Viacom was suing YouTube, which was owned by Google at this time, unfortunately. Ended up was accusing them for other users to basically upload massive amounts of copyright claims vision to upload hundreds of thousands of videos owned by Viacom without their permission, which could really be unfortunate if this does happen. But we're not going to really talk about much about the whole Twitch situation because I will make videos on that shortly. Now, after all of this turned out to be happening though, GilvaSunner ended up deciding to delete his channel after having 11 plus years on his YouTube channel though. Of course, he still has his other YouTube channel called GilvaSunner, where it's basically just almost like the same content that he uploads onto YouTube, where he just does almost the exact same thing, except he sometimes either parodies these gaming music videos and just makes memes on it as well too. So I'm not sure if he will be uploading those still content in there after it was getting deleted. And, yeah, you thought to be that like the video was going to end for that specifically. But no, there was something else that I also saw in my eye that completely kind of came out of nowhere, and I was not expecting any of this until it was later turned out to be an actual site of confusion, which I'm going to get to the tweets down below, where the Twitter username SoulScribbles posted a tweet saying, "My friend Para brought to my attention that the GilvaSunner copyright claims are most likely not from Nintendo." Now I'm going to say this again, most likely not from Nintendo, because he kind of makes this whole evidence that it does happen though, because there is going to be some evidence he shows later on in the replies, and are saying they're instead most likely someone impersonating Nintendo. When Nintendo actually takes down videos with a copyright claim, they don't simply put Nintendo as the copyright holder, showing a screenshot saying that the video unplayable, this video contains content of Nintendo who has blocked it on all copyright grounds. Nintendo doesn't say which Nintendo company, they always copyright strikes with Nintendo Co. Ltd, Nintendo of America Incorp, or Nintendo in the Japanese letter font if it is a real copyright claim. Here's an example of an actual copyright claim on an NFT game they took down. As you can see, shows that the copyright claim is from Nintendo of America Incorporated, which he made the theory that somehow, some way, that somehow may have been a person who may have been or may have been not impersonating Nintendo to try to make sure it was pretending to feel like it was a real corporation, but it turns out there's much more than that when what happens later on in the replies down below. When Gilva describes the emails he's gotten, he said that they came from Nintendo Japanese, which doesn't exist. Here's an example of a fake Nintendo claim being restated by YouTube after finding it wasn't the real Nintendo. Now, if that was an actual real thing specifically, it would be really horribly bad, because if the person ends up getting caught, he would be in really, really big trouble, because what he's doing is pretty gratifying to say at the very least. And I could understand it specifically why Nintendo always has their fair share, and a lot of people do really hate with Nintendo because of their copyright claims on YouTube. And specifically, it would be really hard, because what I am kind of worried about is the fact that we can't even do is just play games with music on, because we don't know what is specifically copyright material or not. We have to make sure we either mute the music specifically, because we don't want to make sure we get our channels to be either taken down by this thing or just get copyright claimed because of this. And it really sucks to see this site happening now and time again. And also, later ended up happening a day ago specifically. He also stated that it's getting a lot of attention, and saying that it was all just a kind of a big thing, which I'm going to show in the tweets down below, that it says, and it just turns out later that his friend Paris said that he actually kind of disproved it wrong, which we'll say down below. Correction, by the way, about yesterday. The claims were probably made by Nintendo. We got confused about copyright claims and content ID claims. Copyright claims is when a business decides to give the channel a strike for using copyrighted material, which means they do not need to fill out the full company name legally. Copy ID claims is what Gilva is dealing with when it comes to the mass music takedowns. Copy ID claims don't require you to fill out your company name. It just uses your YouTube name, as it's only blocking the video from being viewable on YouTube. It doesn't give you any strikes. As seen with this image of Ubisoft content blocking a video of their shitty attempt on a Nintendo Direct last year, the copyright holder is simply listed as Ubisoft. And they still say that the claims still could be fake from what they claim to be, so they're really still not trying to do, but they say after in the first image, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, I don't know why you have to claim the first time that it was specifically fake, but who knows what could ever happen. I just don't really know. Apparently there is a company that does pretend to be Nintendo that do content ID block Nintendo related videos, like the Kirby reanimated video collab one. I generally do not know if what Gilva is currently facing from the same company or not, but it's best to keep an open mind about it. The company is called APAP. I know not many people care anymore about it. And then about a day later, after when all of this was turned out to be, then YouTube decides to actually just make the situation a bit more of a mixed reaction, because we all know we love YouTube and we complain about the littlest things, whatever YouTube is going to say about it. And YouTube claims that actually it was confirmed that the claims on the GilvaSunner's channel are from Nintendo. These are all valid and in full compliance with copyright rules. Specifically now is the situation from Team YouTube. They either claim it to be specifically, and if you just look at the replies, people are always not having it, just like when they always not have with YouTube making the littlest change, whatever they can, to make a complaint about it and just insert a haha funny joke at it specifically. GilvaSunner also has he has his other channel still up though. I'm not sure if it will still be up. You do want to check out his other channel though. Link will be in the description for his YouTube channel. You guys can check it out. It's Silver Gunner though. He uploads kind of like almost the same thing with the gaming music ones, except he doesn't. So yeah, guys, everyone, that will be it for today's rant review video specifically. Let me know what you guys think about the comments. Do you believe it was ever a Nintendo source, or is it actually the claims are actually true or fake, or whatever YouTube is providing here? We just don't know about it, so there is a possibility whatever happens. Leave your suggestions and comments down below, and I may answer them in the comments section. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on today's rant review video. This is GaleS here, signing out.